What's up? Welcome to episode 7. Today I'm going to be talking about, what we all know as terrible 2's. I'm going to try, well not even try, I'm going to call it transitional 2's. It's a very, very interesting age. For me personally, I feel like it's been the most challenging thus far in parenthood for me. I know people that have older children are like, I don't wait till they get, yeah, I get it. Well, we're not there yet. As of right now, this part right now thus far has been the most challenging. At about 1.5 is when my son started more communicating, as far as in he was able to say certain words on certain foods, like things that he wanted. He was able to communicate as far as in like yes or no. If I'd be like, do you want this, do you want that, and he would say like no or yes, or thank you, like things like that. For me, my son has always been a lot to handle because I've mentioned tons of time, my son is a very, very emotional person. He gets really, 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 really riled up for the littlest things, and that can be very, very stressful on a parent. I'll give you examples. If let's say he wants to watch something on TV and I turn it on and then I accidentally like press maybe the wrong thing that he wanted to watch, he will go into a full-blown tantrum. I mean a full-blown crying, hysterical, like somebody outside would probably think like somebody hit him. They probably think people abuse him here because he cries to that degree and we're just looking at him like, because it gets ridiculous and it gets really, really stressful. I'm not sure if other parents deal with this, but that's just my experience so far. And Kaylani, to me, like she's very feisty. She's very different than he is. He's more emotional. She's more like feisty. If she cries now, does whatever she does, it's more like, she can't communicate, so that's her way to get your attention. My son, even as a baby, I know I mentioned this in another video, my son would catch full-blown tantrums when he was 8 months, 9 months old, to the point where he would make himself stop breathing and faint on me. Yeah, very, very stressful. So he's always been like extra, like super extra, which is a lot for me to handle because I come from that and I've kind of toned it all down and I'm much more at peace and I'm much more calm, and he just kind of takes me to just a really bad place sometimes. The more that they start communicating with you, the more they start testing you, the more they start expressing themselves, and it can get really challenging. I'm learning as a parent that sometimes I'll see him do certain things, and let me just make something clear, your children copy everything you do. So it's so important to be aware of the things that they do that you might get upset at, but in reality, the only person they got that from was you. Make sense? Yeah. So I know myself, what I do is, because I'm not perfect, okay? I don't have this shit all figured out like people be thinking. My children are crazy, my son especially right now, and I lose my shit sometimes, and I handle things, or I handle him the wrong way. I'll just completely yell and get very, very frustrated at him, and it's not the way to handle it. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you gotta like yell like a crazy mad woman so they can know you a crazy bitch, and then they be like, and they kind of like calm down, but she doesn't always need to come out, and I'm learning that. So sometimes if I see him do something that I know he got from me, whether it be the his aggressive nature on certain things and how he'll handle it, I'll tell him like, you know what, I'm sorry about that. I did that and you saw me do that, and that wasn't right because I shouldn't do that stuff. So let's not handle that. Let's try to handle this differently. I'll do that all the time. Like, I'm very big on apologizing for my wrongdoing to my children, whatever that may be. You know, it gets really challenging because for me, my son catches these crazy tantrums, like I said, and then you get also, you know, you have to be mindful of the children that they're around, because children pick up other children's things. It's just what it is. Like, children are just at a certain age when they are just complete sponges to everything and everyone around them. So it's so important when you get to these age of transitioning and they're getting into themselves, and both emotionally, physically, and how they express themselves. I think it's super important as a parent to be mindful of what they watch on television, what you watch in front of them, what children they're around, what adults they are around as well. Like I said, they copy everything and everyone. So, you know, when you have certain things that maybe they'll catch on, like I said, and then you get upset at them for it, but you know, like, okay, that was from this person or that child, or from me or this parent or that parent. I think it's super important to communicate with them and let them know, like, we don't do that. I know you saw it from so and so, but that's not how we speak, or how we handle things, or how we treat people. 2 is also an age where they think that everything is theirs. Like, everything is theirs. Now, I have a very different way of how I raise my children when it comes to sharing. I know a lot of people don't agree with what I'm about to say, and that's okay. But this just works for me. I believe that sharing is a choice, like anything in life. I do not force my children to share. I do lead by example, and like I said, he thinks that everything is his. So let's say it's something that's not his and it's mine, whether it be food or anything, whatever. I'll let him know, like, I am this is not yours, this is mine, but I am choosing to share this with you. So it's kind of like just me showing him, like, it's a nice thing to do, but it's also a choice. So if you have something that's very, very important to you, or you're really, really hungry, or I don't know, whatever, and you don't want to share, that's okay. Don't share. Just be like, no, thank you. I don't want to share right now. I don't think there's a problem with that. That's just me. I think we force our children to be this structured way that society taught us. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking any parent that, you know, feels that every child should share. That if that's the way you want to raise your child, that's more power to you. You know, just be confident 100% in that. Just the same way I'm confident 100% in the fact that that's not the way I teach my children. So know that if you ever hang out with my children, if my child does not want to share something with your child, I'm not going to force my child to do that. That's just me. But like I said, I do teach them that, you know, how to treat people, and nice things and nice gestures to do. So I think with that, he kind of does it honestly on his own. Sometimes he doesn't want to share stuff, and sometimes he does. I mean, my son is the type of person, like, if I'm cooking something, whoever's in the house, he don't even know if I got enough food or if I got enough for everybody, but he would literally go up to everybody, like, he'll be eating it. And it's so good to him. He'd be like, Dada, you want some of this? You want some pudding? Mommy, Daddy wants some pudding. Kaylani, you want some pudding? Mommy, Kaylani wants some pudding. Nobody's answered him yes. Nobody said nothing, but he would just automatically, you want some? You want some? You want some? So that's, see, like, he likes to share and give, you know. Maybe not his personal stuff. But he is concerned with other people, you know, making sure they feel good as he does. But yeah, that's my thing. With 2, sometimes depending if your child is going to maybe pre-K or not pre-K, but one of those daycare, you know, type of places that they go to at that age. I'm not too familiar with them. But you know, you have to understand that you have all these other children, and then you have a structured pattern on the way that place, wherever they're going to, has a certain system and structure on how they teach their children, those children. So they might teach them something different than what you teach them at home. So I think it's important to always speak to your children, let them know, as far as in where there's boundaries on certain places, like, okay, in that place we respect the fact that this is the way they do stuff in that place, but just because we don't do that at home doesn't mean we're not going to not do that there if that's what they require in their facility or where or their home or whatever. Like, I do think it's important to teach our children to respect other people's way of being, not be judgmental on it. Make sure they respect yours and you respect theirs, and that's it, pretty much. 2 is a great age in the sense where they're very much more independent. You still have to watch them. If your children are too quiet, it can get a little scary. But you still have to be mindful of them at 2. 3 gets a little better when, like, I'm okay with him being in his room playing with him, like with me and me, playing by himself. With his toys and his tablet or whatever the case is, or chilling watching TV in his room. Like, if he's by himself, I'm okay. Like, I always still have a monitor, but for the most part, I'll just check in with him, like, Tristan, you okay? He'd be like, I'm good, I'm okay, you know, and I'll just make sure he's all right. So although it's a very age of independence, it's an age, I think, for parents to take in and learn a lot about yourself, because how you handle them in every circumstance, both good and bad, is a reflection of how you were raised and what have you healed from and what have you dealt with from any of that past stuff, whether it be a good thing or a bad thing. I've learned to take as much of the positive things that I got from my upbringing and kind of remove the negative. And don't get me wrong, the negative still comes up sometimes, because we're all a work in progress and you don't change overnight. So I think that what I remind myself the most with my children is that they are here to teach me something. Pretty much, I'm not here to teach them, if you know, in hindsight. So every day I make sure that I do better than I did the day before on how I handle specific situations, especially again with my son right now, because he is on 1,000. I mean, they get to this point, I'm sure all parents can relate to this, where you'll tell them, like, don't do it, like, don't touch it, don't touch it, and you'll say that like freaking like 3-4 times, and they'll touch it and you're like, yo, the fuck, like why, just why, you know? But it's just, I don't know, I guess that, you know, they're in their exploring phase, and oh, that irritates me. As far as discipline comes, now here's the thing, I don't like to hit, I'm gonna be honest. Have I? Of course. It's not my first way to handle things, I will say that. I try my best to talk to him as much as I can, but it can get really to the point sometimes where he just don't get it, and sometimes the spanking is what he gets, unfortunately. But like I said, it's my last resort. Like, he has to really get on my effing nerves and just be completely disrespectful for me to spank him. And I'm like, spank his butt, you know what I mean, a few times. But now I've been transitioning into more, because at this age, at 3, I feel like he understands more of why he got in trouble and what he did. So I've tried to incorporate where he gets punished and he has to like stay in his room. and I take away the TV, and I take away his tablet, and I take away like his Legos, like all these fun things that he loves to play with. I take it all away, and whether it be for the day, depending on the severity of what he's done, or for a few hours, we do that. He gets punished basically. He has to just go to his room, and we don't want to hear it, and he'll scream hysterical in that room, and somebody will think like somebody trying to kill him, but he's perfectly fine. Like I said, he's very dramatic, and it's been working. We're still filling it out, if that makes sense, because you gotta try new things every time with them. But so far, I feel like it has been working. It is taking, you know, I do know that things take time, and eventually he will get it. Like certain things we don't play with, you know what I mean? Like we're serious about it, and we say do it, do it. So yeah, so to me, what I consider, like, as far as getting punished, it's just doing disrespectful things. Like, I'll give you one example. One time, it was during the time it was Kaylani's birthday, and I went to the store, and then I bought Kaylani something, and I couldn't walk out of there without buying something for Tristan, even though it's not his day. It's just a parent thing. So I bought him something. It was something small, but I still bought him something. He was more obsessed with playing whatever I bought her as opposed to what I bought him, and I'm like, no, like that's hers. Like for the most part, she's been like, you've been sharing your toys with her, and now this is me buying her like her own stuff, and here's something for you either way. Well, your boy had a full-blown tantrum, screaming, hysterical, jumping around like a fool, and then proceeded to take the thing that I got him, and no, I went to give it to him, like here, and I forgot what happened. I think it was I went to give it to him, I don't remember. Point is, your boy grabbed the thing and threw it. That to me is super disrespectful. Like, I didn't even have to buy you nothing, but I did. And because you don't get your way of what you know what I mean, of something that's hers, that she wants to play with, that I've let you play with your stuff, and even certain things, and when you say that you don't want Kehlani playing with it, I'm okay with that, and I make sure I give her something else that she can play with. So I just felt that was wrong, and I remember he got punished like a full day for that. I was super, super upset at him. But yeah, things like that, you know what I mean? So yeah, there isn't much I can say except the fact that as your child is growing into themselves, being mindful of not forcing upon who you want to be on them to make them be like you, if that makes sense. Let them be and explore who they're gonna be. That's okay, but then also just set your boundaries when it comes to, like I said, respecting other people, respecting yourself, respecting rules in the house, and so on and so forth. Like, you can be whoever you want to be, I don't care, but certain things are just my way because this is my home, you know, and this is the structure that I built that you have to follow. So I think it's very important to do that. I think 2 is also a very beautiful, beautiful age where they're soaking up so much information. So learning wise, it is so good to do as many things as you can with them. I know it's harder for certain parents that have to work and have multiple jobs. I get it, trust me. But just, I guess, whoever your child is with, make sure that they're actively teaching them something. Don't keep them just zombies to a television. I know sometimes we have our children, you know, stay with the grandparents, and that's great, you know, it's a great help they have, but sometimes they'll get stuck with just throwing them to the TV and they're watching TV all day, or they're just on their tablet all day. Like, I think it's important, whoever you have watched them, to incorporate, like, okay, that's cool and all, but try to get like at least, whether it be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you know, depends on them. You know, sometimes children's, their attention span is really, really short. So in little increments, even if you take like 10 minutes, you know, like here, For example, you can have, like, let's say the grandparent, when they're cooking something, have the kid be a part of it, you know what I mean? Like, oh, how many onions are there, you know, and teach them to count like that. How many oranges are here, you know, when they're giving them fruit or they're slicing up things for them. I mean, these are small little ways that you are teaching them and they're learning something, and to them it's fun and it's just part of the everyday of what they're doing. It's super important to do that at that age. Great shows that children learn a lot. There is something called Endless Alphabet. It's also a game, like, on a tablet that you can, or, you know, online you can find it. But it's called Endless Alphabet, and it just really expands their vocabulary. Like, Tristan has learned so many words from there. But it does a lot of word association, and it does a lot of sentences, and it's just a great thing for them to watch. It's very entertaining as well when they give examples and things like that. Akili and Me, I don't know if anybody knows about it. It's on YouTube. Akili and Me is pretty cool. It's for the younger children, but this age still, like at 2, you still like it. They still like it as well. But it's just a nice, fun show. A lot of singing to it, and it goes with your alphabets. A lot of word association, numbers. Akili and Me, A-K-I-L-I and Me. If you go on YouTube, you'll find it. Endless Alphabet you can also find on YouTube. Like, all these things you can find on YouTube. Another show that was actually really good, and I was upset that Netflix took it out, but it was called Super Y. So Super Y is a cartoon where they take fairy tales and then they kind of put like a more positive twist to it, which that's what I really liked about it. So let's say you had like the wolf with the Red Riding Hood, you know, like they kind of take a positive twist to it and change the story, change certain dialogue in it to make it more friendly and positive and not as you know. So that's a great show as well. What is another one that I love? I mean, Sesame Street you can never go wrong with. I love Sesame Street. That was, I would think, back in the days. But yeah, I think Endless Alphabet is the main thing. There's also Alpha Blocks. So Alpha Blocks is pretty dope too. It spells a lot of words. Again, that increases their vocabulary. So these are just great things. Like, you know, wherever your child is staying, just kind of make sure that they're watching something productive if they are watching TV, and not like your grandma's soap opera. You know what I mean? Sorry, but I'm just saying, like, we have to, you are the parent, and this is what I think I want to remind every damn parent. You are the parent, not the grandparent, not the uncle, not the aunt, not the friend. You are the parent. So whatever you say goes. So if somebody was saying, hey, I'm gonna watch it, okay, that's cool if you want to watch them, but these are just certain things that I need to be done, and that's it. You gotta lay that down, and you're not asking for anything crazy. Trust me, you're not asking for anything crazy. This is stuff that can be done, you know. Like, I'm not saying they can't watch their TV, I'm not saying that, but let them know, like, please be mindful of the stuff you're watching in front of my children. Try to do it, you know, if there's something more aggressive on TV that you're watching, try to do it when they're napping. You have to set these boundaries. When people watch your children, I understand they are doing you a favor and helping you out, but you know, with that favor, you just have to set rules. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. I have the beautiful blessing and luxury that I get to work from home and be with my children 24/7. The way we incorporate stuff is my husband does more of the mathematics type of science stuff. I'm great at like the writing and reading stuff, but we do both each other, but like that's my forte with him and that's his forte with him, kind of thing. But we just try to, like, every day, whether it be 20 minutes, 1 second, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes later on, 20 minutes, you know, like for maybe a total of like an hour for that whole day, he got some type of structured learning. And to him, it's not learning, it's like super fun to him. Tracing with right now he's 3, so he's been tracing though since he was like, I want to say a year and a half, no lie. My son is like crazy, but he, in a good way. You know, just we do a lot of tracing. We do word associations, word meanings, going into more of the multiplication and addition. I also think it's important to never, it's another big thing, don't compare your children to other children. That is the biggest mistake that we make as parents. Every single child is different. Every single child learns different. Every single child learns at a different pace. So there is no like, you know, oh, this child's slower than that's, you know, it's like, no, it's probably just a different way that he will learn better, you know, or grasp it better, understand it better. I'm sure you've experienced when you've had, when you were in school and you had certain teachers that were just horrible and you just hated the class. And then you have that same exact subject and it'll be like a dope ass teacher and you understand everything. Like I experienced that so many times. So be mindful of that, you know, don't worry about what other children, the level of where they're at, because your child is just as smart, just as intelligent and as every other child out there. But they're gonna have to find their remix on how it works for them, or you're gonna have to find that, what works best on grabbing their attention. So that is something really, really important. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think I covered most of what I wanted to cover. And I think the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is to enjoy the process. It can get really, really, really stressful when they don't listen to you. Trust me, I get it. I deal with it every single day. But find the joy in that process. It's a short time before, you know, they're gonna get older one day. They'll be out of your house and all those, you know, times you wish you could take back, even though as hard as they were. So, you know, I remind myself this, trust me, I gotta tell myself this every day, to just enjoy these moments as stressful as they are. I try not to let them stress you out as much, and just be mindful of how you react and try to do better every single day, whether it be with their eating, with their toy, whatever it is that is a challenge to you with your child. Try to find different ways, as opposed to doing the same thing, like different ways to reach out to help them understand you. One last thing, communicate with them, speak to them. I know at times you might think like, yo, they don't even understand what I'm saying. They will. Eventually they will. Trust me, I learned that. Speak to them like they're a regular person, not a baby, none of that baby talk. I don't do none of that shit. I talk to you like a grown-ass person. And I express myself. I tell you what you did wrong, why you did it wrong. And like I said, even at the age where you're like the 1.5, 2, where you think that they're not getting it and they're just looking at you like, you know, like you're a freaking idiot, still talk and say everything that you wanted to say. Like, this is why I got upset, this is why you got in trouble, this is what you cannot do, these are the rules. Like, you have to still do that, and eventually, trust me, that's the way they're going to communicate with you, because they're going to see that every single time she sat there and spoke to me. And eventually, as time goes, trust me, they start understanding. Trust me. And you'll know when they do. And it's a beautiful time. Alright guys, so that's it for episode 7. Next episode is going to be episode 8, where we talk about sleep training. I think it's something that so many parents go through and are scared of. So it's going to be just a few steps on or advice on how to sleep train your babies. And that's it. Alright, catch you later. Bye.